Hello and welcome everyone to Let's Talk Lorcana, your weekly Monday night Disney Lorcana podcast. My name is Brandon, also known as B Squared 24, and I'm joined by Liam from the Illumineers. How are you, Liam?
Oh, I'm tired. I'm exhausted.
Me too.
But excited to be here.
Me
Excited to
too
be
as
here.
well.
Yeah. Always. I don't know. I'm always tired going through the weekends and Mondays. I'm like, oh man, I got to do a show. And I'm not going to lie. Like I'm stressed right. And you all, anybody who has not been on the show in the green room beforehand doesn't see my last minute panic prep, but it's frantic.
I think every week when I join the green room before the show, Liam opens it up with, I feel unprepared. Or at least it has been for the past couple weeks.
It's true.
But we do it anyway, and people keep coming back, and we
Yeah.
appreciate everybody. We see you all in chat. Shout out to everybody that's hanging out on this Monday night and who shows up regularly, especially to support us. We appreciate you guys.
Yeah. But yeah, when everybody comes and hangs out, you know, that adrenaline kicks in, and I don't know, I just have fun. So like right now, I am from feeling exhausted right before the camera turned on to like, let's do this. We have some amazing guests. We have some amazing giveaways. We have some fun news, and a lot's happened the last week. Brent, but before we go into like this weekend and stuff like that, you have some news that I don't think we talked about on camera.
Okay.
I could be wrong. It involves a team, and I don't know if we mentioned it.
Oh, yeah. I don't have my thing to rep because it's in my truck right now. But yeah, for anybody that doesn't know, I have joined Team Inkfinity, which is a really exciting thing. They have approached me about helping with some content, and every now and then I help a little bit of practice. I have been hanging out with those guys. I went and visited a couple weekends ago for Lucky Llama. I don't know if anybody remembers that, and hung out with the team and loved everybody there. And so just honestly a great group of people, which is, if I'm being completely honest, is like the primary reason that I joined. I think they're a positive group in the community, especially for the competitive side of the game. And so I was eager to be a part of that. And so, yeah, I'm a part of Team Inkfinity. Go follow them on all socials. Actually, recently, I think this week, they posted let me see if I can find the title of the video because I forget what it's actually called, which is a little bit embarrassing. Because I was in the show. Hold on the play. Okay, so they have on their channel right now, they have 2 episodes of On the Play, which is just kind of a fun like game that they've been making videos for. And you guys should go check it out because it's super funny. I'm in the most recent one along with Katie from Lore Keepers Inn. If anybody knows who she is, shout out to her. And Mandy from the team as well. And so yeah, you guys should go check that out. They also do like podcasts pretty regularly about competitive play. One of the things that I like about the team is that they don't just do competitive stuff. They also like to have fun in other ways, because I know competitive isn't everybody's jam. And I think there's a cute team announcement video that we put together that you guys can watch too. So all of that to say, go follow them go subscribe to them on YouTube, follow them on Blue Sky and Twitter, and all the places, and check them out because they're a cool team. They also have a Worlds qualified player. Mo Shamblin is on the team prepping for Worlds. So you guys can, if you like Team Inkfinity, you can root for Team Inkfinity at Worlds. As a caster, I promise I'll be unbiased, at least behind the microphone, and so I won't be sharing any secrets to teammates or anything like that. Don't get that twisted. But I am excited to be part and help them with content and things like that. So yeah, exciting things.
I was super excited when I heard the news, both for you and for the team. It's a great fit, and it makes me so happy. And it means that Team Inkfinity bucket hats are all but certain to be
Yes.
a thing.
I have one. If it wasn't in my truck, I would go grab it real quick, but it's outside of my truck because I wear it to league and stuff now, to rep the team. Because the funny thing is, the majority of the team, I'm pretty sure all of the team, is located in the same area, but I'm like 6 hours from them. So I'm
you're the scout. You're out.
I guess I'm like, I'm somebody that lives a bit far away, so I kind of have to represent the team on my own. But I try to head up there semi-regularly and hang out with those guys. But yeah, they have at least one bucket hat, because I have one. I don't know. I know they have merch that you can get. I'm pretty sure they do. I don't know if bucket hats are on the merch list, but if enough people ask for them, I'm sure that they will make it to the store.
Well, this is demand number 2, although I don't know if it'll hang as neatly as this one here. Sorry, I'm covering up the Muses hat. That feels kind of rude. But I rotate them. If you have, I say this all the time, if you have merch out there, let us know. We like repping teams and stuff, but
yeah.
Yeah, no, that's super exciting. Great fit. And yeah, I can't say enough about their content and the whole group and you, and I think it's going to be awesome. So definitely content worth checking out. And I wanted to make sure that we talked about it, because I think we missed it. The other kind of announcement, I'm going to do this one on your behalf. Your Twitch channel has been an awesome place to hang out the last few days.
Yeah,
it's pretty well polished, and it was great. Even just sitting, listening, talking to you as you were sorting cards was delightful.
I appreciate that. Yeah. Anybody that's been following me for a really long time knows that I used to make YouTube videos for Disney Lorcana, and that was kind of the medium that I hit the ground running with in the early days before the game even came out. And I did that for about a year, a little bit over. Eventually, life got really busy, and I just don't have the time or capacity to like sit down, write the scripts for videos, edit them, record them, all that kind of stuff. And so I took a little bit of a break while doing the casting thing, because I wanted to do the casting thing and have enjoyed that. It's been a dream come true, but I was kind of looking into something else that I could do for content for Lorcana that was a little bit less demanding, because I don't know if the chat realizes, but a lot of times YouTube videos, they may not look like, you may not notice all of the effort that goes into them, but every little sound, every little thing that moves, every piece of text, every picture, everything has to be placed there and edited by an editor, whether that's somebody that's being paid to edit videos or the video creators doing it themselves. And I was doing everything myself. I wasn't comfortable hiring an editor, so streaming is a little bit easier for me to do, because a lot of the work is done on the sort of the front end, getting it all polished and looking nice, and then I can just click the go live button and stream stuff there. So what did I do? Friday I streamed and did product opening for Reign of Jafar, and then yesterday I did a sorting stream where I hadn't sorted any of the cards. I'd been to events all weekend. So it's doing a bit of a like co-working, what's the word? Body doubling like stream as well. So I've been trying to do stuff like that people can kind of just come in, hang out, talk and chat if they want to, lurk, just get stuff done. We're going to be doing some other stuff too later this week that's Disney adjacent. I think we'll be playing, I might be playing some Dreamlight Valley. I've been talking about doing some community games, maybe playing some Mario Kart, and so we'll be doing some other fun stuff outside of Lorcana, but I still have some more Lorcana stuff planned. I'm wanting to stream a lot more regularly over there, so that I can keep making content, keep kind of being involved in the community in that way. So I do appreciate anybody that goes and follows. It's just B Squared 24 down there on Twitch. But yeah.
See if I can type it. Twitch TV. I'll figure it out. We gotta get your link in the. Your link will be in the show notes, and we'll get it in the chat here shortly.
Okay.
So people can follow, because we've already had one request. So yeah, look at that. So that's awesome. I really enjoyed when I saw the B Squares Live pop up on my phone a while ago, and oh, there it is. And yeah, so I do want to get to our guests. I also want to jam through. There goes the link in the chat. Except if you're on Twitter, again, I have to do another thing to get it out there. So I'll get it out there shortly. But couple notes and announcements before we get into the main part of the show. With our guests first, for anybody, I have to make this announcement. For anybody in the Austin area or wanting to travel to the Austin area, we are working with Lorcana Fanatics and a bunch of other locals, a couple other content creators, to set up a watch party here. We're going to rent out a big theater, and if it all works out, a big theater so people can watch. Our local game store is putting on a tournament on Saturday. Lorcana artist Brian Weiss is going to fly out and be signing cards and sketching cards out here. And so it promises to be a pretty cool event. The registration page for that should go live shortly. So again, if you're interested, follow our socials. We'll get the link out there for you so you can register. I think it's going to be, we're keeping it as affordable as we can, probably around $15 if we can do it, and drinks, food, all of that. So
sounds great.
Trying to plug that. So yeah, it'll be here in Austin. So a lot of fun. Then and I had the flyer downloaded and I didn't upload it, but tomorrow, if you're a member of the Discord server, we're going to do another free seminar on this time. It's on Lemon Lime, pretty popular deck this time around, with Nationals or North American Continentals qualifier and player Clara Sear, one of the experts at those color combos. That's how she got her invite. So if you aren't in the Illumineers Discord server and you want to attend, I'll drop an invite link here shortly. You can jump in, join for the seminar, and then leave. That's fine. But it's a great chance to interact with some pro players at in a pretty low key setting where you can ask questions and all that. So yeah, I'll drop that link here shortly. Then I have teased this on socials. We are going to do a giveaway.
Some great giveaways today.
It's I am always humbled, honestly, when people say they'd like to give stuff away to some of you amazing viewers out there. And this week, both of our guests just out of the blue offered to give something cool away. So both from this weekend. Zach Bivens, who will be on later, is going to give away his bounty playmat that he successfully defended all weekend and was like, I want to get this to a member of the community. So we're going to do that. And Mark Miller, the guest we're going to talk to coming up next, and the winner of the SSG 10 case tournament this weekend, has offered to give away an entire box of Reign of Jafar, which is cool.
That's a lot.
It's great. Awesome. It's awesome. And I'm really excited and really humbled. Here's how we do this here. I'm going to paste a link to a Google form. You fill it out. The reason we do it this way is so we have your email address so we can contact you. There's nothing worse than during the show somebody wins and then we have no idea how to reach you afterwards. And you fill out the Google form. At the end of the show, we'll draw a number from the number of people who entered, and then we'll see if you're here. If you're here, you respond in the chat, and then you win. So the drawing will be at around when the show ends, which will probably be around 9:30-ish. So yeah, but here comes the form link here in the chat. Except for those on Twitter, I'll have to get over there and paste that somewhere in a minute. So it pays to watch it on a different platform. Just saying. Yeah. So I think those are all my notes. Do you have any other announcements?
No announcements. I mean, there's a lot that happened this weekend. There was obviously SSG. It was opening weekend for Reign of Jafar, so I went to a draft. That's pretty much it.
We already have 8 entries. Holy cow!
This is a big giveaway.
Yeah,
I'd be racing to it.
Yeah. Yeah. So we are. That's a good segue. SSG tournament. We'll talk about that for the rest of the show, I think. One thing I will say, hey, on that giveaway, I know the traditional logic is like fewer people in here, you have a better chance, and that's true. But hey, our guests are giving this away, and I think we owe it to them to get the biggest audience in here possible to listen to them. So tell your friends that this giveaway is going on, and I don't know, maybe say, hey, if we win, we split the box. I don't know, but tell your friends, get them in here, tag them on the things. Give them the nudges. All right. Should we go to our first guest?
I think we should.
All right, let's do it. I am very excited to welcome on the show for the first time a guest who I've actually wanted to have on for a while. I met Mark. I met him on way back in the day. Mark was one of kind of our earlier supporters and followers. And then I happened to sit next to him on a plane.
Oh wow!
To a challenge just randomly, and I think it was Vegas. He's gonna correct me if I'm wrong. And we chatted, and I've been following him ever since. His competitive performance, and so got to see him this weekend at SSG. Speaking of merch,
there you go.
SSG. Oh, it's too big. SSG, where I got to interact with the community down there. And while this is the longest intro I've ever done. I'm flubbing this big time because I want to get that on. So I got to go down to SSG, got to watch the tournament down there, got to see everybody's the new meta, the breakdown, what people are playing, and got to see Mark crush some folks throughout the day. All right, without further ado, from the green room, from Florida, it's Mark Miller.
Hello.
Hey.
Thank you so much for having me on.
Thanks so much for being here. That's my worst intro ever.
Oh, that was a fun time. That trip was awesome. I didn't have anybody to talk to about anything. I thought I was just going to have to read an audible audiobook the whole time, and instead I got to talk about Lorcana the whole time. So that was great.
It was really funny because I was also like going to spend the trip I don't know, like prepping,
Right?
And like a few minutes, we talked briefly, and then I was silent for a minute, and I'm like, can I ask him to like help me prepare? And eventually I was like, Mark, can I pick your brain about Lorcana so that I'm better this weekend? And you're so gracious and chatted with me.
And I just want to say real quick to Brandon, I totally forgot about the Infinity thing, but congratulations on joining the team. I don't know if you were a part of the team yet, but we got to actually play them in the ICL a few weeks ago for our first like exhibition matches.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. Everybody was super awesome from that team. So I hope we can do some stuff in the future, or at least get to play each other again in the ICL.
Yeah,
Everybody
definitely.
was really nice.
Definitely. Thank you.
Yeah. So what was I gonna do? Oh, that's what I was gonna do first. Before anything else. And we start asking you questions about your deck and talk about your performance. I am also aware that it is your birthday, and so is the preponderance of the chat, apparently. And we have a small, I don't know, tradition that it happened a couple times, and now I call it a tradition where if it's your birthday when you're on the show, or maybe a day to either side, we open a pack of cards for you and then send you what's inside. We've yet to hit a birthday enchanted, but
until tonight,
that would be crazy. Please don't. My luck has just been too much lately.
Wouldn't it be awesome though? So
if you do, you're giving it to somebody else.
No. So we've got a pack here of Reign of Jafar. I think it's my last like sealed pack outside a box, but I forget where it came from. So we're gonna run through the comments here.
Some goodies.
Yeah, I feel like I'm on Whatnot right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah.
The best card of the set.
Uncommon, yeah.
Right.
That's what me and my friends call that a meta pack. We scream meta pack.
Meta pack. All right, and for the no, that's another uncommon. All right, I forgot. It's a rare. It was a fun rare.
Clawhauser.
All right, and it's a super rare.
Super rare.
Oh, Queen of Hearts. Okay.
Queen of Hearts. Okay, and
enchanted.
Oh, common.
Almost
got the fake out. If you would have done the left side.
Look at man, these have faked so many people out so far.
It got
I actually didn't know that Nero had the connecting art with anything.
Yeah, Nero and the other
Bruno?
Gator.
Brutus. That's right.
Yeah, Brutus.
Yeah, there you go. All right, so here are your cards.
Yeah, those ducks got me at least 3 or 4 times over the weekend with the borderless, and they look so much like an enchanted with the borderless. But
I already felt like the cards having the foil like on the whole card is tricky if you do it fast, if you're just throwing cards out, because there's been multiple times I've watched somebody open cards and they're just like going through and they open it and I'm like, oh, it's all shiny, it's an enchanted, and then like half a second goes by and it's like, oh no, it's just a common.
Exactly.
All right, gonna bring Mark on the package here. I'll get this to you sometime with some channel swag. Cool. Well, it's not enchanted, but it's enchanted adjacent, I guess.
Thank you.
Okay, so SSG, you won.
I sure did.
How does it feel?
Incredible. It's pretty unreal. I don't know. I never go to a tournament thinking I am good enough to win. I always think I'm good enough to play well, and that's all I strive for, is just, bring a deck that I feel is good and play it as well as possible. And fortunately, there's just so much variance involved in card games that finally just went enough my way that I was able to go all the way and win the whole thing. I've done pretty well at SSG the last 3 or 4 events. I think I've like bubbled, or I got top 4 at the last Arcasia's Island one. But I've never won a big event ever. So it was really, really awesome. And it was, I mean, the best part of it was being able to walk out after I won and have all my friends be there, my teammates just so happy for me and cheering me on for the first time. That was just a memory I'll have forever.
That's amazing. The team aspect of this game is one thing that I really appreciate.
Yeah, for sure. The community is just incredible.
Mhm.
Even all the Southside guys, Stefan, and people were coming up to me like, "Go get it!" I'm so happy that you won, and just having that support from people is just overwhelming. It feels so great.
I think that's a great mindset to have too, that you mentioned going into tournaments. Like it's one thing to be like, I think it's good to be confident, in your ability as a player, but I think it's
Yes.
also good to know that, like, yeah, there's variance in the game, and sometimes the variance isn't going to go your way, and sometimes it is. And I think, like, the goal, like you mentioned, is just to play as well as you can, and try to play as perfectly as you can. And sometimes it works out. It did this time, and sometimes it doesn't. I think that's a great mentality to have, and representative of how great this community can kind of be, instead of somebody being super toxic in some way or another
Oh,
about
for sure.
how great they are at the game or anything. So that's cool to hear.
Yeah. And I mean, at the end of the day, it looks like, I crushed and everything went my way. But if you weren't watching the stream, I I went 6-1 or 5-1, and normally you can ID the last game, but
Mhm.
because of weird tiebreakers and stuff, I ended up being 8th place. So I had to play to even have a chance at top cut, or I
Yeah.
was going to get bubbled out, and I had to win that game. And then from there, I was able to just win all the way from there. So
Mhm.
it's like all it took was one game not going my way, and I never would have been even talked about. Like, who's the bum that bubbles out? Nobody cares. And then it just happened to go my way, and then I went to first seed. I got to play first, and the whole way through from there. And I just kept getting the perfect hands, and everything kind of just went perfectly for me in Top Gun. So I got really fortunate, but I do think I also brought a very good deck, and we can talk about that if you'd like to, and as well.
Let's do it.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about this deck, Mark. What's the idea behind the deck? What was the
Yeah.
inspiration? What's the I can't think of the word I'm trying to say. The strategy of this deck.
So nothing particularly new here for the large majority. If you've been a competitive player or watched this game for any length of time in the last few months, you'll have seen some variation of this deck. It's green steel discard. It's been very good for a very long time. Sometimes it's faded in and out of being a top meta pick. But it's been really good lately. And then Beyond the Horizons came through in the Reign of Jafar set, and that's when kind of everything went okay. Green Steel just got even better than it already was by a significant amount, because I don't know if you got to watch the finals game, Brandon. I know you did, Liam, or at least part of it, but I think the finals games, both of them, really showcased why this deck, or why this card is going to, in my opinion, push this deck to the top of the meta for the duration of these few months until rotation happens. Because in game one against Ruby Amethyst, it was kind of back and forth. I was slowly building more and more of a position, and I was going to be pretty close to winning the game unless my opponent top decked a Be Prepared, or had a Be Prepared, and kind of reset my board. And before he was able to do that, I had just one Prince John on the field, and he might have had 2 or 3 cards. I don't remember exactly. And I just did a Beyond the Horizons and got 4 new cards. Well, actually, I think 6, because I took 3 new cards for myself, and then I get 3 from drawing off of Prince John. And just having that little bit of extra gas in my hand in case he's got that B prep coming, it was enough to get me over the finish line. And able to win that game that I otherwise would not have won for sure. And then game 2 really showcased how powerful the card can be if everything just goes perfectly for you. I don't know if you saw the meme video or whatever, but I was able to set up 3 Prince Johns, and he had 5 cards in hand, and I sung Beyond the Horizons, and I ended up drawing 15 cards. Well, I reset 3 for myself and then drew 15 new cards. So a total of 18 new cards to my hand, and he goes down to 3. I've got 3 Prince Johns in play. At that point, I have everything I need to possibly deal with whatever he's got for the rest of the game, and it's just over. So I think that's really the big thing that I wanted to focus on and explain to people about the card is like, yeah, the big splash play makes it look like it's the most broken card that's ever been printed. And I could see where you would draw that conclusion, but I had to have 3 of the 3 Prince Johns in my deck. My opponent admittedly misplayed a little bit by drawing a few too many cards. Like, there's ways you can manipulate it to make it not so overly broken. But even when it's like a lower value play where it's just a Prince John and getting 1 or 2 cards out of their hand, it's enough to push this deck into wins that it wasn't able to get before. And I think that's really where this card shines and makes this deck even better than it ever was before.
Wow. So yeah, Beyond the Horizon was kind of the, I don't know, the boogeyman that everybody was talking about all tournament. And probably, you know, as you suggested, one of the reasons that the 2 most represented decks this weekend were Amber Steel and Emerald Steel. Everybody looking for ways to leverage this card. What was interesting about it is I found, like, most of the time when I saw it used, it was at the end game when a player was either searching for answers or like the exclamation point in a victory. It's not one that I saw terribly often, at least on stream, like used in the mid game or the early game. I know a lot of people worried about being like dumped and sung together super early and dumping your opponent and all that. I never saw that. But I did see it at the end game, and I actually saw it leveraged like 3 times with Deceiver of All to be used like twice potentially if it needed to.
That's even better if you can get it double sung with you know, the Ursula for sure is incredibly strong. But and yeah, we can get into the nuance there if you want to. I personally am not super sold on the card in Steel Songs. There is a really decent potential that you can high roll like a Cindy into an Ursula, sing this on turn 2 or 3, and then follow it up with like a You Have Forgotten Me and just control the game from there. I've seen that deck around a little bit, but I personally feel like that's a few too many cards to really consistently combo together. The payoff isn't as consistently good as this allows for, where Prince John like can guaranteed get you value at multiple times throughout the game. So I'm a huge fan of it in Emerald Steel. I'm not convinced that it's really worth it in an Amber Steel deck just yet. I think maybe once rotation happens and it might be our only option for a wheel type effect, maybe then it's worth you know, getting more looks in Amber Steel, but I could very well be proven wrong.
That's something I was interested to hear your thoughts on for sure, because the 2 decks that, as Liam mentioned earlier, I think were being theorized to break Beyond the Horizon, for lack of a better term, was Amber Steel and Emerald Steel, for the reason you just mentioned. And I was looking through like the top 8 and top 16 of the tournament, and like all of the Amber Steel players that made it that far, I don't think any of the decks were even playing Beyond the Horizon. It was like a different version of the deck. And so I was interested if it was something that you had tested in Amber Steel yourself and you didn't find, and you just thought Emerald Steel was better. or
Yeah.
kind of what was going on there?
Yeah, I tested heavily, and it's actually one thing I do want to touch on real quick is one of the other people that made top eight is a close friend of the teams and myself. He was very new to the game. He had played like less than a month really at any sort of competitive level, but we kind of like workshopped them to try and get them some set champs experience. And then we had found in testing that the Amber Steel like really low to the ground aggro list with Lady, and just being able to just push out a ton of these extremely aggressive questers was really strong into a lot of the meta decks. The only one it really seemed to struggle against was Emerald Steel in our testing. And I was like, if you can dodge it or just beat one of them along the way, I think you have a really good chance of topping this tournament. We had 2 people on that deck, 2 people on this deck, and we were able to get one of them into top cut, and the other one also did pretty well, but just didn't quite go their way. But it was awesome to see somebody so new make a top 8 at a major tournament.
What was the name? I can pull up that.
His name's Aaron.
Yeah, we can pull up his deck list real quick.
Yeah, it's. I think it was largely inspired by Meyer Madness. I think we pulled the list from him, and we just tested it, and we were like, "This is so good. We're just gonna take it." I think in one variation of the deck, I switched out Rapunzel's Tower for what's the Zootopia song where you can pull a card back from 2 costs back. But that was my only real change with the deck. Everything else was just super strong.
My link isn't working. Give me a moment. Yeah, no, we did see a lot of Amber Steel.
Yeah, I think that deck is also really well positioned. I played a couple variations of Amber Steel throughout Swiss, and I feel like the aggro heavy version is the best version right now. That may change, depending on how things shift, but it's really good.
While Liam gets that pulled up, just looking at the top 8 roughly, and even through the top 16, it just looks like Emerald, Steel, and Amber as ink colors were all very heavily represented. They, at least at the very start of this format, seem to sort of be front runners in regards to inks that are good, I suppose, and that's in basically all combinations: Amber Steel, and Amber Emerald.
Yeah, I'm personally not convinced that red blue isn't good enough to still be very viable. That's actually why in my list you'll see I have a knife find on my platinum. I thought that the item version of red blue was the only deck that I had found in testing that could reliably try and combat people that were going heavy on the Beyond the Horizons, because if you can land the workshop into play, then at least you have a fighting chance throughout the game if you just hit an item here or there. So I think red blue still got a lot of potential to be good enough, but it's definitely hard. But I do think that Amber Steel and Emerald Steel were the obvious choices for this tournament, mainly because Beyond the Horizons and Lady were like big standout additions, and it's a new set. People want to try new things, so those were kind of the most obvious. Okay, I don't know how much testing everybody else did, but I did a lot, and nothing felt nearly as powerful as Emerald Steel and kind of this Amber Steel aggro list here.
So in the way that Emerald Steel is able to create advantage with Beyond the Horizon by discarding cards so that you draw from Prince John and drawing cards yourself, obviously Amber Steel is doing something a little bit different here. This looks like a very aggressive list, as you've mentioned, with the Daisies, the Mulan, the Docks, the Lady, of course, I think being kind of the main card in this list, being able to play cards out for free. You mentioned y'all tested some of this. Would you mind going over this a little bit and strategies for that
absolutely.
as well?
Sure. Yeah. So the main strategy is pretty straightforward. If you're on the play, you go Daisy, you go the Mulan route, or you go the Cinderella route, and well, it really doesn't even matter. Like if you are on the play, I think I'd probably just go the Daisy route unless you know what you're going against somehow. Obviously, Cinderella is like really strong against like Emerald Steel or the Mirror, and you want to hit the Cindy first. But otherwise, it's literally just throw as many of these 2-cost powerful cards into play as you can. Get to the lady as quick as you can. Cheat in. This Prince Bodyguard has really overperformed in our testing. Nothing can really get rid of them easily except for like the muses. That's why I think the Emerald Steel ended up being one of the better things against it. Was if I could get to the muses, then I could finally start dealing with a lot of their problematic cards. But otherwise, it just goes so fast. Most people can't react to it in time, and most decks can't react to it in time unless you have the perfect answers in your hand. Yeah, there's really not a whole lot of strategy. That's what makes the deck so good is you can, just play the aggressive cards. And the only time strategy comes in is if you find certain matchups. If you're going against red matchups, then the Lilos are much stronger, because once they board wipe, you can keep pulling the Lilos back into play over and over again. Piglets early are absolutely amazing. Playing them for free with a lady is absolutely amazing. Playing a dock for free with a lady is absolutely amazing. So yeah, just those high roll starts with this deck are really hard to stop.
Yeah, I watched. I think I might have commentated this match, or at least one of Aaron's matches, and the Prince did work. I think it was like 4 turns of the Prince like guarding a Piglet, and just the opponent just not able to do anything, while Piglet and several other low toxic characters just did their thing. It was really rough. It was really rough.
For sure.
Yeah, there's one interesting note too. Looking at these variations, when you look at the meta breakdown for the tournament, if I was better at my job, I would have the meta breakdown slides saved from the stream and shown here, but I don't have them. But the 2 most represented were Emerald Steel and then Amber Steel. It occurred to me that the decks that we see like most represented are ones that have multiple identities. And if you actually broke down the top performing decks, like the highest percentage decks, into their archetypes, whether it's in the Amber Steel version, whether it's a straight aggro or like a traditional Steel Song variant, you would actually see like this really healthy breakdown in the meta of deck variety. Where if you look at it right now and you see like 18% of a particular deck, it does look a little skewed in that direction when everything else is like in 6 and 7. But that is fascinating to me, because it shows to me that the meta is in this healthy place right now, where there's lots of good options. The one exception, maybe Green Steel, I think everybody thinks is just very dominant.
Slight tier above. Yeah. I mean, 3 converted into top 8, which I think is the most of any deck, at least one specific variant of the deck. Maybe there were 3 Amber Steels, but yeah. My personal opinion, just on the testing I've been able to do so far, I mean, it's been a week and a half since we really knew what the cards were, so it's hard to say with any definitive, but man, it just feels better than it's ever felt, and it's already always been a very strong deck. So
it seems like we can't really escape the Emerald Steel discard. I feel like maybe we get 1 set off or 2 sets off, but if it's not Bucky, it's Diablo. If it's not Diablo, it's Prince John. Something always gets printed that breaks this deck. It just seems to always come back.
Yep, for sure. Too many good cards that just feed the engine. That's what I think makes the deck so good, right? You have Diablo, you have Prince John, and you have access to Beast. Having 3 really strong engines is no deck really can match it. I mean, Amethyst can do their thing a little bit, but it's kind of relied on 1 or 2 card combos. You can find 3 engines at any point and be in a good spot. And I think that's what makes the deck so consistently strong. Every now and then, it can definitely fall on its face, though, and that happened to some of my opponents that were on Green Steel, and I've played the deck plenty of times to know that it can happen. So it's not just you can pick up the deck and win with it. it can beat itself, and there is a lot of nuance and very punishing mulligan decisions, particularly with this deck, that I think if you're not experienced, you'll really struggle to do well at a major tournament. You might be able to win a set champ or something in a smaller group, but to do it well, it really does take a lot of experience and practice or extreme luck, and you just hit the high roll hand over and over and over again. But that's very unlikely to happen across 7 rounds and 3 rounds of Top Gun.
We need to do a video going over some of these mulligan options.
I'll be happy to do it.
Maybe we'll have to talk, because for some reason all the world's qualifiers won't talk about them now at all with their tips and tricks.
Can't imagine why. I don't know how you got Zach Bivens to come on. I told him at SSG, I'm like, shouldn't you be practicing for Worlds? What are you doing here, man?
Here, and then I think like 30 minutes ago he was off crushing people in the ICL. So
yeah.
Was he?
He's all over the place. I actually didn't see how his match went, but I wouldn't be surprised if he
me either
did some crushing. I love a good crushing. No, one of the things that I'll always remember, I said this like 8 times on stream, so anybody watching the incredible SSG stream this weekend has heard this, but the thing I remember about Emerald Steel, I always remember, is Zan with like half his deck, or like 3/4 of his deck in his hand in the
he had like 20 cards in his hand at one point.
Yeah. And that's why this deck, I mean, everybody, it is green steel discard, and everybody, focuses on how it can punish, your hand and force you into top deck mode. Not as quick as it did with Bucky, but certainly, fairly quickly can hit you with a pretty good combo. And for that reason, it's devastating against certain control decks, etc. But really, its key to victory is how it accumulates resources at certain points, and I would say like the late mid game or the end game, where, as you put it, you manage to turn on some sort of a draw engine, whether it is Beast, whether it's the Prince Johns in the discard, or if you can in the mid game get an unchecked Diablo that just sits there. It's the ability to draw and leverage resources that really really,
and you can pivot so reliably. Like there's, we don't need to go into it in too much detail. I don't want to use all of the time that you have, but like if I'm going against a Ruby Amethyst now that has these evasive answers, I can pivot away from my, heavy Diablo opener and say, okay, I'll see if I can get Morph Beast, because now they have no answer for that for 4 turns. And just having that level of option and variety at that level of card quality is just really, really strong.
Yeah, chat's on fire tonight. Oh man, it's back and forth. Sorry. This is after show business. But Brandon, Aaron said that I reminded me that we can get you access to like the admin side of this, so you can manage the chat.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
I didn't know
I'm
that.
not sitting here staring at the chat all stream. You guys crack me up. Keep it coming, live chat. Keep it coming, live chat. No, it's all, man, great observations. And I don't know, it just felt, I mean, this was definitely this deck's weekend. And I don't know, part of it too, watching, and you mentioned that you're not convinced that Ruby Sapphire isn't still a good deck that'll have its place. I think part of what makes this deck so good right now is it got 1 or 2 incredible new tools, especially that Beyond the Horizon fantastic tool. But Ruby Sapphire didn't get a whole lot.
No.
So it's a combination of like getting new tools, but then some of the traditional decks not getting much.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But I'm not convinced Ruby Sapphire needed it. That's the thing.
Well, that's the
Ruby
interesting thing.
So good if you just get the right combo up. But yeah, I haven't tested it enough to say for certain. I don't know, but it feels on paper to me, when I've been running through it in my head, that it's probably one of the 3 decks that could really stand a chance at a major level in this meta.
It really goes to show how, one card can make the difference for a deck, because, we say like, Emerald Steel got some really good tools, but it's like your deck list only has 1, technically 2 new cards for the new set. You have 2 Beyond the Horizon, and it's like everything else, this deck, you could have played this deck 2 weekends ago minus the 2 Beyond the Horizons, but sometimes all it needs is, one little thing to really make it pop off.
Absolutely. Yeah. When it's that powerful in conjunction with Prince John. Exactly.
Yeah, and it just feels like it pairs well into the meta right now. I mean,
Yeah.
the discard is definitely puts Ruby Sapphire at a disadvantage, especially without Hiram to power it in the mid game. And then, the Muses gives you, excellent control against some of these low to the ground decks like Charter Dog. So I don't know. It just feels like, what matchups are you afraid of with this deck?
Green Steel Mirror is the only problematic matchup. If they get the right cards and you don't get the right cards, that's the only thing that felt like you wouldn't win if you just don't get the right cards. It's very rarely can you outskill your way through that matchup. It can happen for sure, depending on the skill level gap. But just having the right cards makes all the difference in the Green Steel Mirror. Everything else feels really good. I think one more thing I do want to mention about Beyond the Horizons that needs to be at least talked about is that in addition to the fact that it's like a reset button and all the things I said before, I think the other thing that makes it secretly incredibly powerful, especially in the green steel deck, is the way you used to beat green steel with most of the amethyst decks and even red blue to some degree is you just outdraw my ability to discard you. Now you don't want to outdraw, because if I happen to get the Beyond the Horizons, you're punished for that. So you have to sit in this really awkward middle ground where you want to have 2 to 4 cards maybe at most, and that limits so much of your ability to do all the things you want to do, because you can't over risk yourself by going too far one way or the other. And I think that's another significant part of this card that most people may not be considering.
That's World's Commentary gold right there, Mark. Brandon and I you're going to hear that said again.
Yeah, I mean, I think like that's one of the interesting. I think it's why it's an interesting addition to the deck, because I would argue that like the Emerald Steel discard decks before this also kind of did that. If you were able to land like a Diablo and a Prince John on board, because you're in that awkward position where like if you can't answer their Diablo and it's exerted, you don't want to draw a bunch of cards to try to out discard them, because then they're going to draw a bunch of cards, but then you also don't want to just
but
be
you're forced
empty-handed.
to find the answer, right?
But now, like, you don't even need the Diablo on board. Like, you don't know if they have Beyond the Horizon in hand. They could have it at any time, and so it's almost like there's always a Diablo on board. Like, there's always that threat, that you don't want to draw too many cards. So, definitely a tough place for the opponent.
Yeah. Well,
absolutely.
We will in a few moments. We are going to transition, get to our other guest. Before we do that, there's a couple questions in the chat. One in particular that feels like an inside joke, but I'm going to ask you anyway. Another top performer down there at SSG this weekend asks, Mark, can you explain why one of the other 2 viable decks is Mirabelle Puppies?
Yeah, because he's playing it. That's probably the main reason. Nobody knows the deck nearly as well as him, and he's a master of that deck. But I think it's very similar to why I think Amber Steel aggro is good. It's just such an aggressive deck that if it can land its curve, it's almost impossible to beat. And it got even better because it has Lady and some of these other cards now that can just push the gas pedal even further down than we thought was possible before. So it's really good.
I have one more question. I think you answered this already, but just to hit the nail on the head, do you think Green Steel is the best user of Beyond the Horizon?
Without a question. I think there's until Prince John rotates, there's no better place for Beyond the Horizons, without a doubt.
All right. Brandon, any other questions?
No, I think it was a great explanation of the deck. Well, I'm interested to see, what, if anything comes around to beat it, or if this is going to be the boogeyman for the set. I was eager to hear. I was eager to hear Mark's answer to the question of, what he thought beat it. And when the response is just the mirror, that's a bit of a scary response. So we'll see. We'll see if anything can be brewed up to challenge
I
it.
do want to make a few small call outs of things that really caught me off guard and I thought might be enough. And
Go
if
for it.
things hadn't gone differently, they would have. One of the Ruby Amethyst decks I played against had teched in the Mirabelle, or not Mirabelle, the Magicka Dispel that prevents discard because they knew that this card was coming. And it very easily could have disrupted my game plan. And both of the games that they played it, I just happened to top deck a Muses the very next turn. So I was able to sing and get it out of play and still do what I needed to do. But that card is definitely, puts the brakes on this deck in a hurry. If you can't have it, if you can take away their answer, if you just say, you got to have it or you're going to lose this game. That was really good. And then the evasive new Magicka Dispel, the 3/3 evasive, that came in a couple times in the green purple mirror or the green purple matchup, and that paired really, really well with obviously the Peter Pan Shadow Finder to just come in and take the Diablo out and also give them a decent draw engine if I happen to get them down later in the game. So I think those are two cards to definitely keep an eye on or be thinking about when you're building decks. If you don't want to play the Boogeyman deck, everybody keeps asking me, how do we beat it? And I think it is beatable. It's not like it's not like 90% into everything. It's the best deck that's ever been printed or anything like that. I just think it slightly edges out everything if you play enough games right now. But there are some pretty good tech options that can help deal with it.
That's really interesting. I love that somebody was like, yeah, I see you discard and I'm throwing Magicka Dispel.
Yeah. Definitely caught me off guard. It was one of those, you got to go pick it up and read it again because it had been so long since you've seen it,
Yeah. I love those moments.
Yeah, me too.
I will say, so unfortunate her stat is 2 in the stat line, though. I mean,
I know.
right?
I'll say till the end of time, that should have been a 3/3 with that same effect, and it would have immediately been a very consistent answer for discard, but they didn't do it. So we play with the cards we got. That's all we can do.
It's way more expensive than an Inkable because I thought I remember this card, but we did get a Kronk last set also that's in Amethyst Emerald that says if an effect would cause you to discard one or more cards, you don't discard.
Yeah.
So maybe we start seeing these cards come out. I don't know.
Maybe. That's just such a high cost. Like
it is
usually done before you can get to that part. That's the problem.
Maybe we'll get something else, or maybe we'll just get rotation. And
I think those are the only two cards in the game right now, though, that outright prevent discard from happening.
Yeah. Till Fabled. We see something like well, Mark, how can people follow you?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm never going to stop on X. You can follow me there. My team is Never Shift. You can follow us. And I personally am going to be doing a green steel deck guide over the next few days that will be free and widely available to anybody who wants it. We're also working on deck guides for some other decks that we think are going to be decent this set. So please come follow us, come join our Discord, and we're going to try and be as open and available with our information and knowledge as we possibly can be. That's kind of the goal of our team. And I think I saw somebody mention in the chat before about the Never Shift, like, no fair, he does shift sometimes. That is true. That's not the main intent of it. The main intent of the name was like, stay true to yourself, was kind of the way we were going with the name. But yeah, those jokes are always fun.
Oh, and you have a Discord I see that's been dropped in the chat here. We'll get that out on the other platforms as well once I figure out how to copy and paste here.
Just the last shout out, if you don't mind, to Southside Gaming for being the best tournament host, bar none, outside of maybe Disney Lorcana themselves. The DLCs are pretty awesome, but SSG has been nothing but amazing every time I've been there. I'm sure you can attest to it, Liam, the few times you've been there, but they're so hospitable. Every single person there has just been amazing to me, and I just want to give them a huge shout out, and shout out all my friends and teammates that have helped me get to the level that I'm at, and help me test, and just being there and supporting me all the way has just been incredible, and I can't thank all of you enough.
It's an amazing sign off. Well, with that, definitely, Mark, we'll make sure to put your a link to your Twitter in the show notes, and I'll get it in the chat here in a little bit. And thanks so much. Congratulations on your performance.
Thank you.
We will see you again near the end of the show, so we can run your giveaway.
Give away this box. I can't wait.
I am super excited about. All right. Thanks, Mark.
No problem. Take care. Mark. Thanks.
Mark is the nicest person.
He is. He's super nice. Which is, I always contribute discard, especially Emerald Steel, as being like the evil deck of Lorcana because it's discard gross. But there's so many discard players that are like the nicest people ever. It really conflicts.
Right.
It's conflicting to my morals.
Right? I don't know how to process this. This is disjointing. Yeah, it's yeah. I do want to echo, because I don't know if I did it justice up front, Mark's comments about the South Florida community, specifically like SSG. I've been there twice now, and it's a really wonderful, like, welcoming community there. The tournament is great. Everybody's so friendly. And, the folks at SSG are always looking for like little ways. It feels like when Disney pixie dusts, you in the parks, they're always looking for little ways to add a little bit of magic and fun moments and memories to the weekend. And I appreciate everybody down there. So,
yeah, I always see sometimes in my like shorts feed or TikTok or things like that, I'll see little videos they make during the tournaments where they're giving stuff away or they're addressing the players or things like that. It looks like a really fun time down there.
It absolutely is. Yeah. Any thoughts here mid-show before we move on?
No, I think we should grab our next guest and bring them in if they're ready.
Let's do it. To give him just a second to look at the camera and make sure we're good. I am going to, for those who came late, I'm dropping a link right now to the giveaway for tonight. A couple awesome items being given away. Follow this form that I'm going to put in the chat here. Fill it out. Only fill it out once. It's rule number 1. Rule number 2, you do have to be present to win, so you can't get all your friends and fill it out and walk away. So we will ask if you're here when we run the giveaway. We'll do it probably around 9:30, a little after. In that range, and yeah, be really cool. So there's the form link again, and we have about 126 entries right now.
Nice.
Crazy. It's crazy. All right, do you want to introduce does Zach need
sure. I mean, I feel like he does. Yeah, I'm gonna say he's the people's favorite Lorcana player, but for a long time at this point, Worlds qualifier. I went through the grinder to get there, but is just as deserving as anybody else on the stage. You know him, you love him. Everybody, welcome Zach Bivens to the stream. What's up, Zach?
Hey guys, thanks for inviting me.
Thanks for being here. Like, I mean. We're here every Monday, like, we're gonna be, but yeah, it feels a lot awesome that you took the time out of your World's prep and everything else to join us for a little bit. Yeah, playing this man was the best part of my weekend. We won't ask. Okay, so let's do this disclaimer, Brandon. We're gonna ask questions. We're gonna try to stay away from any World's prep stuff. But we're if the chat asks, if you ask questions in the chat or something, and it gets too close to giving away secrets, we're not going to go there. So Zach, of course, is perfectly free to plead the fifth throughout the evening. But how is World's prep going overall?
First, I want to shout out Purple Pansy for our game this weekend. It was awesome playing him. He also, like Mark had mentioned, he was playing the Magicka Dispel, and I was playing a discard deck, so a little scary there. A little scary. So it was really fun. So shout out to him. But Worlds prep is, I mean, it's going great. I'm excited. There's so many variables to this. It's so complex with the banning decisions, and dude, there's just so much to it. So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's probably. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Brandon.
I was just saying, I think everybody's like itching for Worlds to come by just so that we can see what all the Worlds players have cooked up. Because I know it's multi-layered, and I think after, obviously you guys aren't wanting to share your secrets just yet. You want to show them off on the main stage, but I think everybody will be very eager to hear about the strategies sort of going into the tournament and how everybody prepped, sort of regardless of what y'all do, because it's an interesting format. I think it's going to be super fun for sure, and I know you guys have a lot of work ahead of you.
Are you nervous, excited?
I mean, not really. I'm excited. Sorry, Purple Pansy. I thought with the name, I thought you were the blue purple person I played. I'm sorry. They said they played Lemon Lime. Okay. He's probably the Lemon Lime that beat me then. But anyways, yeah, I'm not really nervous about Worlds. I mean, I'm putting in so much work that what's there to be nervous about? I mean, at that point, if it doesn't go my way, it's not because I didn't try. So I wouldn't say nervous. I'm definitely excited.
Well, we can talk a little bit about your weekend and Reign of Jafar, get off Worlds for a little bit, and we'll come back to it. Before I do that, shout out to JDZ for the raid. Always awesome, and it is always like an honor when somebody raids you to that they trust their audience to you. So thanks JDZ and raiders for coming on over. I posted a link to the giveaway there, and because we usually do user questions last, but because JDZ raided, he says that we should whisper Whole New World to you. This might have something to do with an ICL match that just happened.
It was insane. It's like every time JDZ is casting my games, it's just like anything that can go wrong does. Last time in the LCC, I drew 4 Zeus, and he played Pete like 5 times in a row, and my hand was 4 Zeus. And then I drew triple Whole New World. So anyways, if JDZ cast your game, you're cooked, man. You're just done. This just like 30 minutes ago, I basically had the game locked up both times. Like I was in a commanding spot. He had no cards, and it just top decks Whole New World and just snowballs from there and gets me. And then even in the second game, I still was going to beat him even after that. But I had like 10 cards in my deck, and there was 3 of my 4 Kitas in those 10 cards, and I couldn't find one. So yeah, do not say Whole New World right now.
Okay. I was about to say, well, we'll have to dodge the JDZ seat in Worlds for sure.
Yeah, we're gonna. Yeah, that's funny. Well, all right, add it to the notes, Brandon. For the
if Zach is playing and JDZ is casting, I'm bringing this up if I'm in there with him.
Yep, add that to the list. Add that to the list.
I'll just lie to Zach and say that the JDZ's in the break room somewhere.
Yeah.
I'm refusing the stream if he's
excuse me, before I sit down, who's commentating?
I don't think we've ever had anybody request commentators or request that somebody not commentate over a match. That might be.
I'll take anybody but him.
That's so funny. I love that it's not. I know that it's not like it's not talent or whatever. JDZ is amazing. It's purely like luck.
Superstitious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was waiting. I'm like, he's either left or.
Yeah. Yeah, shout out to Wonder for the raid, by the way, coming in. Everybody from the ICL. We appreciate you guys heading over here.
I appreciate the ICL so much. Okay, so we can talk more about Worlds and the meta in a moment, but first, you played in a tournament this weekend.
I did. I did not play that deck, but I did
not.
You played another discard deck.
I played a very, very, very spicy one.
Yeah.
As always, I feel like at this point, like Zach's spice is different than everyone else's spice. If Zach doesn't show up with spice, then we're all disappointed,
Yeah. Yeah, it was fun. You kind of gave me a wink and a nod when you started. You're like, or the day before, you're like, hey, yeah, I'm playing something interesting. And then you walked in with this. There's so much that's different here. I don't know. I'll let you talk about it or let Brandon ask questions. I don't know. I have thoughts, but why this?
So I'm just trying to play, like I said, Chance, I'm just playing a different deck every tournament. Because I have no idea what I'm going to be playing at Worlds, and I want to be ready no matter what it is. Just have some reps behind stuff. And this I felt was going to be good into this meta. I expected aggro to be everywhere. I expected tons of the Amber Steel aggro and some Chernadog, and I felt like this was pretty good against it. I made some really interesting choices, like the set one Aladdin, which is like the worst card in the world. But it filled the role better than anything else could have. Trust me, I wish there was a better card I could have put there. But I just needed my 2-drop to sing songs and to be there to be able to sing Under the Sea. And if you used any other 2-drop, like they can use Kit to bounce it away or use Strength to kill it. So like Ward was what I needed. You can go Aladdin, Prince John, Muses, and they can't even touch it at all. And then you sing Under the Sea. So he filled a very specific role, and he did what he needed to do. And then I brought the Gators because it was Florida. And
is that actually why? I was gonna ask.
It's not. Like I said, I expected heavy aggro, and the Gator just feast on Daisy Ducks. Like he would eat 2 Daisy Ducks, he would eat a Daisy and a Piglet, and like absolutely the MVP. The card was so good. Yeah, he was amazing. I think the rest of the deck is fairly standard for a green-yellow discard deck, but those 2 choices very much stand out, and they were very good.
Yeah. I don't know. I enjoy seeing you set me up with some good lines too. As soon as I saw them, I workshopped them. Prince Ali, obscure is he? You may remember him from set 1. I was pretty proud of myself. But no, I love seeing the spice. Louis, definitely impressive. Another card you drew my attention to early, and I spent some time looking out for him throughout the tournament. And in this particular meta, did some work. Chip, another fun card mixed in. We saw this card quite a bit over the weekend, actually, in a variety of discard decks. So that was fun to see. But overall, how did it perform for you?
So I mean, like I told you before going in, I had no expectations. I just wanted to play a different deck. I wasn't trying to win the tournament. But it did good. Like I started out 4-0 and then flamed out from there. But 4-0 into 4-2-1. And my 2 losses, like they were pretty fluky, to be honest. Like 100% win rate if I see a single Under the Sea in either of those games. So the deck performed really well. Yeah, I was happy with it for sure.
Yeah. Any questions, Brandon?
I'm trying to come up with one. I can't get past the Aladdin and the Lewis. I appreciate the like callback to set 1 and then new cards from set 8. For a lot of times with these decks, we see 1 or 2 cards put in from the new set, especially as things get kind of figured out. And so I always appreciate the spice that Zach brings. And he mentioned some opening lines earlier with Aladdin, Prince John, and Muses to sing Under the Sea to kind of get stuff out. And like it just seems like a pretty solid discard deck.
Yeah, it performed very well. What I liked about it is, or what I like about this deck is, I think the 2 most, other than other discard, the things we're looking at this meta, where the Hangover or control decks, Ruby Sapphire, that was the kind of the bogeyman last set, and discards very good into it, even though I forgot about the discard portion of Zach's deck during the broadcast this weekend when I was talking about the matchup. We'll leave that there. And then the Under the Sea combo gives you a really awesome tool into aggro, specifically with the line Zach mentioned, where you can just wipe the board on turn 4 or 5 if you set things up right. So kind of the 2 big dangers in this meta this deck has strong matchups into. It's really just the Mirror and perhaps Emerald Steel. I feel like that I'd be worried about. Why this over Emerald Steel?
I just wanted to try something a little
different.
More off meta. Yeah, I don't know. I enjoy this more.
Yeah, it looks more fun to me, to be honest. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I do have a question for you, Zach. So when you're building out a deck like this, you're like, okay, I want to play Emerald Amber. We've gotten to a point in Lorcana now where certain ink colors or ink combinations have different decks that you can build with them, right? And so like you obviously have like Amber Emerald Chernadogs. You have Amber Emerald Discard. There may be some other variations there that I can't think of at the moment right now. But like when you're looking at the color build out of deck, is there a reason that you chose this one over something like Chernadogs? Or in your head, are those just like two separate decks? And you're like, I just want to play this deck. Like I want to play this deck specifically rather than saying, here's what Amber Emerald can do. And, you know, out of what it can do, this is what I think it can do best. This is what I want to try to do.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing those two decks share are the colors, so I wouldn't even consider them. I just wanted to play what this did, and I'm not really a fan of stuff like Chernadog or the Amber Steel Aggro decks, where there's definitely some skill expression to them, but they're pretty simplistic. I would rather play something with more options, so I just prefer something like this.
Yeah, I feel like mid range is your sweet spot.
Definitely.
I don't know. I do have one other deck queued up because I think it's fun. And the pilot, I think, is in the chat here too, which is fun. Only because we're talking about this color combo, and Chernadogs is another one. There's another deck that performed well in the top 8 that was not... People kept asking in the chat when this deck was online, they're like, is this Chernadogs or is this something else? And we're like, it is not Chernadogs. It has the dogs, but the no Cherna. And I kind of wanted to, I don't know, I kind of wanted to show it. It uses just in time, which unfortunately we didn't get to see on stream, but to leap in some things early. But I don't know. What do you think about this variant? Both of you. I don't know.
So this one actually beat me. It was one of my 2 losses. It was quite close. I needed to see an under the sea to win game 3, and I just didn't. So I think it's very interesting. I haven't played anything like this before, so I'm not exactly sure how to evaluate it compared to Chernadogs, but it did its job. It performed well, so.
I'm excited to see the deck purely for the 1-drop Lady. I think there's some fun stuff that can happen here where you can play Lady on turn 1, you can play the Tramp on turn 2 for discounted cost, giving her 1 extra strength, which means she actually gets 2 strength. And if you can follow that up with another 1-drop like a Merfolk or a Daisy, then you can quest for Lady on turn 1. And on top of that, if you like have 1 or 2 ladies on board and you slam a Cricky down, those ladies immediately have 3 strength and can all quest for 3. So those are some like, Christmas landlines. But I was looking at the lady card yesterday or today, trying to figure out what it can do. And there's a lot more that this deck is doing as well, right? With the just in time and Pegasus Goofy, things like that. But I love when people are playing with the new cards. You can obviously use the 1-drop lady to shift the other lady to pull some of your cheap heavy questers back. This just looks like a deck that wants to play as much out onto the board as it can without overextending, and then utilize cards like Lady to bring cards back or Sven to keep things safe. The Goofy having Ward, I think, is great. And I think he gives something else Ward, right? So you can kind of guarantee lore on board. Seems like a very aggressive version of a Amber Emerald deck.
Yeah. It was fun to see, and it really highlights, we were talking about before with this meta right now. Again, with the exception of maybe like green steel discard, there's so many different directions you can take certain color combos. And last set or a few sets ago, you saw Amber Emerald. You're like, oh, this is Under the Sea. Aggro, Clara Sears, Bill, or Diego Saz, like kind of what they popularized. And then last set you saw Amber Emerald, and you're like, oh, it's Chernadogs. And now when you see Amber Emerald, you're like, is it Zach's discard list? Is it this just in time, just dogs? Is it Chernadogs? There's so many different ways you can take it. So it's kind of fun. And I think it bodes well for Worlds, because if you're using this as one of your colors, you're not forced in a particular, in a specific lane. There's some wiggle room. I don't know. All right. Well, if there's no more thoughts on this, Zach, I thought I would do a fun game with you and Brandon near the end of the show here. I, again, don't want to talk about Worlds too much, and we will take some more questions from the chat. But throughout the week, as we often see during set releases, everybody's got their hot takes. And so on social media, everybody's posting the cards they think are broken, the ones they think are underappreciated. So I snapped a few of those, and then I thought, let me ask for some more. And so I polled some of our social media accounts, which you all should be following, for some more hot takes. And I've loaded some of them up here. And I want to get everybody's rapid thoughts on these. Some of them are hot, some of them are not. So let's see. All right, number 1. Dan is talking about Lady here, and I can't see the quote because I've got the slide numbers right on the top there. But basically, I think it says Lady is good. Great tempo play.
Yeah, Lady seems to be a great tempo play, is what it says.
Okay. Great, good card. It's a
I
hot
think this
take.
is a cold take. I think this
Cold
is a
take?
great card.
Great great card.
Yeah, I think this card's kind of insane. So I've never thought that the Diggy Hole was a real deck. I never thought it was any good, but now I think it could actually be real because of this card. This card's really, really good.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the fact, and it just gets, it's like other cards that synergize with other things. It just gets better as new sets are released and we get new 2-drops. Rotation, of course, will lose some tools, but you know, every set people are going to be looking at Lady and being like, what can I pair with this now? Yeah. All right. Next take. There may be another Lady taken here. All right. Shannon Kim. Thumper is underrated at the very least in sealed formats.
Yeah, maybe in sealed. I don't. That's about it.
Yeah, I can see where 3 strength would be helpful in sealed. I gotta agree with Zach on this one. Outside of that, though, I think in constructed, it's probably rated just fine.
Yeah, probably. I agree. Probably didn't see much constructed play, but I think there's a story here. I think this comes on the heel of Enchanted Kim. I think cosplaying as Thumper and then using it in the tournament, and so there's probably a story here. But
That's cool. Yeah, I love Kim. She's awesome. So shout out to Kim and Thumper.
I think she played in I don't know if this is the one or not, but I think yesterday she was telling me she played in a sealed tournament and came in second. So maybe that's what it was. Maybe Thumper helped her get there.
I think that was it. Yeah. So there. I mean, even if a card performs super well for you to get second in a sealed event, like, yeah, it's clearly has some pull in that format. All right. Next take. 1-cost Lady fixes a lot of issues that Amber Emerald aggro had previously. The deck will be a powerhouse in this set.
That card is very, very good, especially when you consider that the 2-cost tramp boosts it and makes it where it quests for 3 on turn 2 like all the time. So yeah, I think that card's really, really good.
Agreed.
And I should connect some dots for people. The purple pansy is Nathan, whose deck list we showed here, using the Lady. So
the 1-drop Lady.
The 1-drop Lady. So just to connect those dots, she performed well this weekend. All right, here's a fun one. Jeweled Collar. Again, I should not put text at the top of my slides. Let me see if I can't read it. Brandon, can you read this for me?
Sure. Jeweled Collar is really great in limited. It allowed me to easily play those high cost cards. More of a wish than a hot take. Think this card would make Blurple more viable, especially the Big Hero 6 Floodborn deck.
All right.
I'm going to say this is a hot take only because I'm really salty because I played Jeweled Collar in my draft deck this weekend and it did not perform very well.
Oh, no.
And sealed formats, any card that like forces your opponent, I guess in any format, a card that forces your opponent to kind of react to what you're doing can sometimes fall short if you fall, a little bit behind. And I find in sealed, it's more important to just kind of play. Bleen, not Blurple. Thank you, Steven. Tempo on board is really important, and there were a couple cards that I was playing in my draft deck, like Jeweled Collar and the Shift Tramp that lets you draw a card if your characters are banished on your opponent's turn. And pretty much every time my opponent just ignored it and played more cards than I did and turned them sideways. So I have seen a couple people in the community testing Jeweled Collar and Emerald Sapphire decks and saying that it's got some legs. And, I've seen screenshots of 1 million ink in their inkwell by turn 5 or whatever, but hard to say if the card actually has any legs for the deck or not.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest and say I don't know how to evaluate this one without playing with it, and I haven't yet. So I think it has potential, is what I'll say.
Yeah, I am in the middle. I think it probably has some potential. I don't know where. I mean, I guess in limited, but Brandon, you're right. Like anything that requires your opponent to respond and play around it to be good is a little rough. It also, you lose some tempo. You're relying on some ramp.
I was about to say something that Kendall just brought up in chat. I think it has more legs than constructed, just because if you're playing cards like Merfolk, like a really aggressive opener, then your opponent's kind of forced to challenge your cards, right? And then you're getting triggers off of Jeweled Collar. I say forced. If you can get sort of board wipes out fast enough, that maybe you can let them get away with questing a couple times. But if you can get like a really aggressive start, then maybe you can force your opponent to, challenge into your things. But I think that's the key with this card, is forcing your opponent to start making trades, which can sometimes be difficult on the draw.
Yeah. Wonderland pointing out Earlmeister, apparently, I think I saw a Facebook post where Earlmeister was talking about how awesome this card is. Yeah, it's just tough because I agree. Like, yeah, the Merfolk line is really good, but again, you're like, if you're going aggro, like I'm dropping the Merfolk, I'm hoping to drop, something else on turn 2 to really push my lore total. And as soon as I take my foot off the gas a little bit, I mean, yeah, I don't know. It'll probably be good at some point. I don't hate it. Interesting card. I'm glad it exists. Arthur is good, but timing is crucial.
This one is very tough. I'm leaning more towards it not being good. I mean, skipping the draw step is very, very, very big deal. And like, if you have more than 3 lore on the board, I mean, they're not drawing, you just race them. So I don't know. It's a tricky one. Probably not good, but I mean, it's incredible stats. So always potential.
I don't know why, but I desperately want this card to be good, but sort of in line with Zach, every time I try to build a deck out, around it and sort of brew ideas of how to make it work, I just think it's such a risky card where if your opponent plays it on board and you can kind of lock them in a state where them questing for 3 every turn isn't as bad as, whatever you can do on your turn, and they don't have any cards in hand, you can just kind of leave it on board and let them do stuff with it for a couple turns and gain a big lead. So probably not as good as I want it to be.
Chat says it's very good in limited. Is what they're saying. Probably. I mean, not a lot of removal in limited right now, or in this set that would really handle it. So I mean, in terms of things not running into it, I can see that. Yeah, and let's not forget. I mean, without Hiram, again, you lose some of your draw power and Sapphire. So yeah, I'm glad it exists. Again, it's a fun card that does something new. All right, we have a couple more of these. All right, Legendary Lilo is so overhyped, says Illumiqueer Lens. Low impact, not good enough to be worth the slots people are giving it. Playing 3 actions ain't free. You're not. This is a long hot take. This ain't like a turn 1 bell. Meh. Basically, I don't think saying this card is bad, but saying it is not as good as everybody thought it was going to be. I don't know. I haven't played around with this one much, so I can't.
I haven't played much with the card either,
Yeah.
but sort of like Luma Queerlin says, getting 3 actions out sounds kind of tough. I think Emerald Ruby has tried to do like an actions matter theme that they've been trying to do for a couple sets now, and it just doesn't quite have legs, and probably requires a lot of setup with this and the Ursula Deceiver of All, or the Robin Hood that can kind of help you sing songs for free. So I don't know, probably not broken, if anything. Probably not a good card.
This tweet is exactly how I felt leading into this tournament. Like, I didn't even pay attention to the card in the reveals because I didn't think it was that impressive. But everyone seems to be all about it. I mean, all of these cards have potential for sure. But yeah, that's exactly how I felt too, at least going into this weekend.
Yeah, of course I pulled up the wrong. There she is. All right, hold on. Lilo, not Stitch. They run in a pair. Let's see. Yeah, play 3 more actions. Yeah. I don't know. This would be a fun card to build around at some point in a fun deck. Maybe it'll be broken later. I don't know. But yeah, I agree with the take, I think, as well. All right. A few more, because this is fun. All right. Lyrakesh says, I'm excited for more puppy support, but overall, the cards haven't changed my deck much. Best card is 3-cost Lady. Bring on Fabled. Basically, I think this take is, there's nothing like huge in this set. It's fine. We'll see a lot of the same decks be good, and we'll truly see a change to the meta in Fabled. I'll start on this one before calling you out. I sort of agree. I think some of the same decks are just as good. The big card, though, Beyond the Horizon, has impressed me as much as I thought it would. Other than that, nothing that really changes things or opens up new decks.
Yeah, I agree that Lady is probably the best card, and not much has changed except that red blue. It got knocked down a little bit. It's still an amazing deck, but I don't think it's the tier 0 deck right now that it used to be.
I think there's a lot of fun cards that came out in the new set that would be fun to play with, but unfortunately, the power level of some of these other decks that are going to be running Lady, going to be running Beyond the Horizon, are just a tier above, sort of letting any of those breathe. Like, personally, there's a lot of cards that I want to test with. I'd love to play with the Down in New Orleans card, see if there's anything crazy. The Ludwig Amber Sapphire card looks really fun. The biggest cards that I've heard talked about, though, have been Lady, Beyond the Horizon, and the new Rhino shift. People seem to be really excited about as well. And outside of those, though, I haven't heard of many cards that people think are very impactful, to use the verbiage that Kendall's using here.
Yeah, I think Kendall is probably agreeing with this take that, yeah, we've seen a few cards. You know, every set we look at a bunch of cards and we're like, oh, these are gonna be great, and then things settle, and there's 5 is probably the right number, 5 to 7 cards that work their way into decks, and other than that, yeah. But fun set, a lot of fun stuff for a variety of decks. I love having puppies around, etc. But it's, in terms of impact on the meta, there could be more. Monster OTK going to be a real deck lock in. Okay. I'm yeah, I like this. All right, last one.
This guy said this about Goofy. Come on,
I had to highlight it. Sisu. Yeah,
I'm about to screenshot this.
Hot take from Sisu.
Yeah, that's
very hot.
That's a take.
Damage for each of the characters. Really, character move damage from this way. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's fun. Someone locked this man up. Chat's on fire tonight. Yeah, I don't know. It's a fun card. I don't know.
I think you need to stack a few more pancakes on that plate for this to be good. I'm not impressed.
I don't know. There are probably some combos and some things that people work with this. I don't know that it works its way into a competitive meta. Definitely not at the moment. Maybe depending how Fabled works out. But there's some fun interactions you can work with this in some more casual decks. Yeah, so I don't know. Fun. Best flavor card for sure. Yeah. And now, oh man, it just occurred to me. We now have Donald Duck Pie Slinger. We have a Goofy Chef. We're getting a whole. We're gonna have a
Mickey.
chef.
We have Sticky Mickey too. I don't know. He's not a chef, but he is food fighting. You know.
That is true. All right, I like it. We need to, yeah, the Mickey and Friends themed food decks. Okay, I need to do 1 or 2 more things. Aaron usually runs the random number generator for the giveaway, so Aaron, help.
There's probably a website that has a random number generator.
There is. I like to do my phone so people know that I'm on the up and up. Okay. So before we go to the giveaway, though, last couple, Zach, you know how badly I want to ask you about your thoughts on the meta and your thoughts on worlds and all of that, but we're not going to put you on the spot there. What I do want to ask, though, my last question, before I turn over to Brandon and then we get closer to our giveaway, is most people know you. I'm presume pretty much 95% of the Lorcana community knows you. But in case people are new to the game, they're not familiar with you, or they're just familiar with your performance, as they go to watch Worlds, so they're more familiar with who you are and not just your incredible gameplay. Just give the audience just a little bit about you and your background in TCGs and what brought you here to this moment, being a Worlds qualified player about to play in Disney World in the first ever Disney Lorcana World Championship.
Sure. So I've been involved with trading card games in some capacity since 2nd grade, and I'm 33 now, so a long time. Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, this game called Versus System, Digimon, a lot of different stuff, and now we're here. Basically, I wasn't playing any games at the moment when Lorcana was released or announced, and I knew that being backed by Disney and they were taking it really serious, I knew it was going to be absolutely massive. So with my skills in trading card games, it was just like a no-brainer, like too good of an opportunity to pass up. So that's kind of how I landed into Disney. I definitely need to learn more about the IP. I'm not really a Disney person, but we'll get there at some point. So yeah, just always been involved with card games. Basically, my favorite thing in the world is to just play card games. I could literally do it all day and never get tired of it. So yeah, that's what brought me here. And I don't know. I'm not sure what else to talk about.
No, I'm just getting the link posted in the chat for one last chance to enter. Brandon, any last questions for Zach before we talk about the giveaway?
Do you have a favorite park? Are you planning on going to the parks when you go to Worlds? Is there something you're looking forward to?
I'm the least fun person ever. Like, I just want to go to my hotel room and grind Lorcana and be the most prepared that I can be. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I will go to the parks because my wife and kid are going there. So we'll go there some, but honestly, I just want to play as many Lorcana games as possible.
Man, that's why you're going to Worlds. Laser focus. All right, I'm getting this posted one more time in the chat on Twitter. We're gonna give people like 60 seconds.
That's true. Whoa, Chuck in the chat. I am the second least fun because of Chuck being here now. Chuck is now the least fun.
Yep. There we go. The entire South Florida community is here tonight, which I appreciate. Last chance to enter. You all have about 60 seconds before I lock this thing down. Zach, why don't you tell everybody what you're giving away here and kind of the significance of it?
Sure. Let's see if I can show it well on the camera here. So usually for the big SSG events, their sponsored players get a bounty mat, and if you 2-0 us, we give you our mat. So fortunately, in the 2 bounty mats that I've had, no one's been able to take it, so I've just been giving them away. I mean, I'm not going to use them, and I know the community would love them, so yeah, just giving them away. So if you have entered this giveaway here, you have a chance to win this bounty mat.
That's awesome. Will you, if the winner so requests, because it's linked to you, will you sign it if the winner asks?
Sure. Yeah, I signed the last one. The last person that won it wanted it signed, so absolutely. You just let me know.
All right. Brandon, any more questions to stall, or should we are people's opportunities, is the opportunity passed?
I think we should get this giveaway rolling, see who's winning.
All right. And actually, while I set this up, I am going to stall a bit because I need to set up the spreadsheet. I'm going to bring back in our first guest, Mark Miller, because he offered you a giveaway as well. Mark, what are you giving away?
1 box from this sealed case. One of the 2 that I won.
Nice.
Oh my goodness!
But I wanted to make sure it was still sealed. I don't want anybody being like, "Oh, he took the enchanted box already." You have a chance at an enchanted still. I promise.
That's awesome. All right. You all need to talk, or the chat needs to.
It's good to see you, Zach.
Do this.
Yeah, man. Awesome job. I didn't get a chance to congratulate you, but you killed it. Absolutely.
Thanks, man.
Killed it.
I appreciate it.
And you deserve it. You've been grinding like crazy, so you were due.
I definitely have. I appreciate it very much. Hopefully we'll get to play again sometime soon.
Yeah, man, for sure.
Sorry, I'm just finding the sort button here. I got to make sure we do this right. And then
You watch someone in the chat's talking about Skater Man. Wochuck wants that card to be good so bad. And I always tell him, take that out of your deck.
Should we talk a little bit about your shirt there, Liam? I don't know if I don't think it was revealed yet in the last show that Powerline's gonna be a Ruby card with Singer on it.
Oh yeah.
That's pretty crazy.
I got teased at an event, I believe, right?
and it had shift. It looked like so. There's
Mhm.
at least one more Goofy or Powerline. I don't know what how it'll shift or what the deal will be there. I don't know if he'll be able to go on other things or what, but yeah, that'll be a really fun card. And it looked
Yeah.
like there was like a wall of text at the bottom, which usually means it's pretty decent. So hopefully it'll actually be a good card.
Yeah,
Ruby Singers.
I agree. Super cool. I love new things. I love fun things. And I love new fun things. And Powerline is new
Me
and fun
too.
and awesome. And seeing a singer in Ruby, like I'm wondering what that means. And I'm super jazzed about it.
Yeah.
As well. We also found out, I'll bring up some other news while we're waiting. And we're waiting because a couple of you wanted to do a whole bunch of entries. So I got to clear you all out. Clear out some folks. People want to try to be sneaky. So we also found out today that China is doing promo packs.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yeah. I think I looked at it briefly, and I think it's like Pokemon or some other games do with like these promo packs for like League Nights and stuff. That seems to be the case. Did anybody get any more?
That's sure what it
info?
looked like. I couldn't tell for sure because I can't speak the language, but that
Hmm.
was the vibe that I got when I had watched a little bit of that stream. Yeah.
That's super cool. The one thing I wanted to remind people though, I love it. I hope they do that over here. But very different markets. And so, you know, even like over there, we see the boxes are different, the box sizes are different, they do different things. So I'm wondering if this is going to be exclusive over there or not.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I don't know if they do like the pins and stuff. I don't know if that's as popular over there as it is in the States. So they might just keep the pins going here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Remains to be seen for sure.
All right. I'm almost done. This usually doesn't take this long, but again,
Good.
people want to be sneaky. Okay. I'm going to drag this sheet over here. Aaron is off camera and is going to run the number generator for me.
Hi, Aaron.
Hi.
Okay.
I most definitely did not fall asleep while I was putting Elena to sleep.
Aw.
So, what's the last number?
All right. So the rows are 2 through 108. Yep. And 2 through 108. I've cleared out the duplicates.
Hi, everybody.
Sorry, folks.
Hey, hi, Aaron.
Okay.
Hi, Zach. Oh, wait.
Hey.
Hey,
It's good to
I don't
see
remember
you.
which one said hello, or I didn't see it. Anyway. Hi,
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. Wait. Oh, I don't know what just happened there. Okay. Ready?
All right. Oh, you're gonna do it that way? All right. Whoa. Okay. Cool. We're gonna hit that.
there.
Oh, we're gonna hit that 3 times.
Well, who's first? Don't get their hopes
Wait,
up.
which prize is first?
Which prize are
Oh,
they
yeah,
gonna
that's
get?
true. Who wants to be first? We'll do Brendan. Who should we do first?
Do the mat first.
Do the mat. All
We'll
right.
just pick one.
The mat. Line 91 is on Twitch. SS Trudeau.
Congrats.
As I blast the email address out there. Wow, look at that. I tried to highlight for record keeping. Everybody, hold on. I'm a professional, I swear. So Scott Trudeau, if you're here, let us know. And okay, that's the mat. Let me mark that. Scott, sorry, you're not eligible for the box. We're gonna spread it around. All right, Aaron, you want to do? Let's do the box. Okay, Scott, are you here?
Do you want me to go?
Yep.
Okay. And a 1. And a 2. And a 3. Number 37.
37. I am a professional. Yeah, you get a mat, but your email address is now. Okay, well, look at this. A frequent viewer here on line 37. I'm just not gonna hide the whole row. Fairy Queen Tink with the box.
Yay!
Congrats.
Yeah, Fairy Queen, you still here?
Yeah, they're here. They just made a post.
Look at like literally on cue.
Right.
All right. Scott Trudeau, let us know if you're here. All right. While we're waiting for Scott to tell us that they're still here, because as a rule, present to win. Any other closing thoughts from this week? What do we need to talk about? Zach, Zach, where are you off to next? Where can people follow you, and what you're up to?
Where am I off to next?
What are you doing?
I'm not sure if I'm doing anything before Worlds or not. 50% chance I'm at CCS in a couple weeks. Other than that, just Worlds.
Mark, how about you? I mean, we closed out before, but
yeah, no worries.
Are you up to anything now?
No. There's a 10% chance I might go to CCS. It's a really far drive for me, and their tournament structure has never been my favorite. So I doubt that I'll end up making the trip unless I really feel like I need to go, or a bunch of teammates want to go and make a weekend out of it or something like that. Maybe we'll do it, but otherwise I'll just be playing some set champs and waiting until the next big SSG event. Probably it'll be the next big one I get to do. So Fabled, and then hopefully a ton of DLCs after that. I can't wait.
Should get that info at Worlds, hopefully.
Yes, I cannot wait.
All right, and we're dragging this out. I want to make sure the person's here. Brandon, closing thoughts for this week, and after your closing thoughts, if we don't get Trudeau to say he's here, then we're gonna draw another one.
Sure. It was an eventful first release week for Reign of Jafar. Lots of product opening. Looked like a successful tournament at SSG and a couple others throughout the world. Interesting format that we're moving into. Emerald looks really strong. Amber looks really strong, and Steel looks really strong. We'll see what people decide to do with that and how much is innovated. I'm excited for Worlds coming up. We have less than a month before we'll be in Orlando to Liam and I will be there to cast. Zach will be there to play. Eager to see how the triple deck constructed format shakes things up, if at all, and how getting to watch these pro players do the sealed format as well. The super sealed, I think is what they call it. So I'm really eager for that. I know the community's eager to watch it as well. I'm hoping that the production is really well and we get to put on a great show for everybody, and that the players all have a great time. I know the community is always supportive, even the players with each other. So I'm sure it's going to be great there. And eager to see all those people again. And then hopefully we get DLC news at Worlds. I know they've said that's when they'll announce it. So I hope we'll get schedules and locations and all the stuff everybody's waiting for, because I know people are itching to play more. And I've stalled for as long as I can. So
all right.
He just
responded.
Oh my goodness. All right. Yeah, he was like, somebody panicked and stepped away. Yes. Okay. You won the playmat. The bounty playmat from Zach. You were literally 5 seconds away from oh man, and everybody, well, thank everybody so much for being here. Congrats to the winners. Thank you both for being here and giving away those two awesome prizes. Like, it means a lot that you support the audience like that in the community, and I can't thank you enough. So with that, we will see you all next Monday at 8:00 for another live show. And it's one more week without outro music, so